Attention. Due to the nature of the films discussed, the Civil Gore podcast may contain adult language and themes.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode 81 of the Civil Gore podcast. I am your host, Tim.
And I'm your host, Brian. And Tim, guess what?
What?
Just like, I mean, technically we should have announced this last week, but now we're into the 80s.
That's right.
Just like our favorite decade.
Counting down to number 100.
Yes.
So that'll be cool.
I know, getting close. We got some big plans for that
Yeah,
episode.
some really big plans, so stay tuned for that.
Yes.
But, Brian, we got a pretty good first chop this week, but it starts out with some sad news, so let's get right to it. This is our first chop. So we found out just today as we were recording that Stan Lee has passed away at the age of 95.
Yes. I mean, you know, even a guy lives to 95, you say, well, he has a full life, but it's like, it's still no less like heartbreaking to hear, especially when it's someone who's touched so many people like Stan Lee.
Right, and he was not the type that was like sequestered away and you haven't seen him for the past 20 years. I mean, he's been doing cameos in every Marvel movie, so you felt like he was still, you know, out there working and doing his thing.
Right, and you didn't, you know, it's funny because you didn't even need to be, like, I know people that are just not big comic book fans, but they knew Stan Lee. You know, he's just one of those people that you know, regardless of if you're a fan of his genre or what he does. He's just so iconic that, you know, even people just fans of The Big Bang Theory probably know him, or anyone that, you know, that saw a Kevin Smith movie, you know, is probably, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, he's so known, and he's been, you know, is probably responsible for so much of I know my childhood, and I'm sure yours, and even my adulthood. I mean, he spans your whole life. He really does. And this is like, you knew the day would come. I mean, the guy is 90, you know, when he's up to 95 years old, but it's like you still don't want to let him go.
I know,
you know?
Yeah. I was thinking today that back to like my earliest memories of Marvel superheroes, and I had this giant activity book that had like the mazes and stuff, and it was all Spider-Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man, and I absolutely loved that book. And that's the earliest time I can remember, and I must have been a little thing, you know, like 6 years old. And just to think that his characters have been around that long, and they were around long before that. I mean, decades.
Oh, yeah.
So just the amount of the time span that he had this success is just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you could go on, literally, we could go on for like 2 hours straight on just his cultural significance and the way he, you know, he just changed comic books, and the way how, you know, just, I know so many little facts from different specials I saw on him, but, you know, and and I remember like my first comic books ever were, my mom had signed me up for this service where it was like it was really weird now to come to think of it, but it was like I guess every month they would send me a Spider-Man or a Hulk comic book. That was the thing. It wasn't like both of them. It was like one or the other each month. But which I thought was an odd way to do it. But he definitely got me into comic books, and he got me into my favorite, which was the Incredible Hulk. I mean, granted, I grew up more on the TV show with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby, but without Stan Lee, that show does not exist. So, I mean,
right.
And I've told that story about how I was a big fan of the Hulk with Universal Studios at that time, and just so, I mean, but again, once again, it all goes back to Stan Lee, and he will be missed by just more people than you can imagine.
Yeah, but I was telling somebody today, though, that called to tell me about it, which I'd already known because my phone got blown up as soon as the news came out.
I think I texted you right away after I found out. But you probably got 93 texts.
One thing I was telling them was I'm so happy that he lived long enough to see his work appreciated on the level that it has been. I mean, blockbuster movies that have never made this kind of money before. I mean, he came from writing this comic book for kids back when comic books were just a kid thing. And to see it fully embraced by adults and mainstream, not just geeks and nerds, but the mainstream loves these movies, and just to see that kind of success, he got to live to see that. So that's pretty awesome.
Right, and it's basically movies that probably at a time you would think could never be made, like an Avengers movie with that kind of star power and those amount of characters. And the effects, and it's like, you know, I'm sure when he made it in his wildest dreams could never picture seeing it in the way it is now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you're right. That's a great point that he managed to live to see all of that, which is great. And I'm sure he'll be, it's just his work will live on for forever.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so my alphabet project continued, and this was, I thought, was going to be the hardest one ever, because this is X.
Yeah, but I had told you about this one. I told you to watch this one.
That's right. Yeah, well, fortunately, I had not watched it because this was on my list to watch way back. It's been ever since it came out. And I just never got around to it, which is fortunate because I don't think I'd be hard-pressed to find another one.
Yeah, because you already saw Extro.
That's right. So you got Extro or X, the man with the X-ray eyes, and which is one of my favorites, by the way, if you've never seen that. But yeah, so I went for XX, which was released in 2017. This is, of course, the horror anthology, which is all women directors.
Yes.
And I actually really enjoyed this one. There, some of the segments, like any anthology, were weaker than others. Unfortunately, I thought the last segment was for me personally the weakest. I actually enjoyed the first segment the most.
I've seen it a while ago. The first segment was the one where they were not hungry, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I think that was my favorite too. That had the most kind of really creepy, kind of had a Twilight Zone type of vibe to me too, a little bit.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that they started off with the strongest story.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, I felt like the film kind of tapered down from there. So, I
mean, I liked it though overall. Though I thought it was good.
Yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I think the first and third segments were pretty strong, and the second and fourth were not as good. But it's definitely worth checking out. It's on Netflix right now, and of course, we need more women in horror. So I love seeing horror by women, minorities, that kind of thing. I love seeing a different viewpoint, which is what we need. So
yes,
I really, really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I actually bought that one when it was out. So I grabbed that on Blu-ray because I had liked it so much when I first saw it. So.
I was listening to the Film Threat podcast and that Chris Gore does, and he talks a lot about. He said, "Won't it be nice the day that we don't have to refer to a movie as a movie by female directors? It's just a movie by directors." I was
thinking that today. That was funny you said that because I was thinking that because so many now are coming out, but yet they still get described as so. Like, it would be just nice to say, oh, this was directed by.
Yeah, like this was a great movie.
Oh, this was directed by female director so-and-so.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's almost a necessity right now because there are, or at least there's perceived to be fewer women directors. There's probably more out there than you realize. But but I think it's still kind of a necessity just to get the attention to it, directed to it. But it will be nice to one day not have to preface, oh, this is a horror movie by a female director. Just say this is a great horror movie.
Right, exactly.
So, but anyway, so enough of the social rant, I guess.
Yeah, I know.
Next up, we have a Nightmare on Elm Street accessory pack from NECA. So this is kind of a counterpart to the Friday the 13th accessory pack. And I've already seen the Freddy TV display piece that comes with this. It looks awesome.
Yeah, and it's got the Freddy worm, too, which is kind of cool.
So obviously it's Dream Warriors themed. And it includes 2 Elm Street signs, the Freddy worm and the Freddy TV, welcome to prime time, bitch, display piece.
Yeah.
So.
I wish it you hit a button and it said that.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But it's really cool the way they did the TV. It's like one of those things you tilt and the picture changes kind of thing.
Oh, I didn't notice it did that. Oh.
They released on Twitter, they did a short little GIF of the TV rotating, and it the static changes. It's really cool.
Shoot, I'm not even finished with my Jason collection. Now I'm going to have to start with the Freddy collection because I'm definitely going to get that accessory set. So I figured if I get at least one Freddy to go with it.
Oh, should I tell my Target story? Well, when I was in front of the NECA, and so I'm sitting there looking at the Freddy figures.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, now I remember it.
I'm looking at the Freddy figures because they had a bunch of them. They had quite a few of them, and they also had Pennywise and stuff. So I'm looking at them because that's the first time I'd ever seen them in person. And this woman comes up behind me, and she goes, "Is that Freddy Cougar?" So I texted Brian and said, "New character, Freddy Cougar Mellencamp."
Yes. He will be debuting at some point. In,
maybe our musical episode will have to break him out. But
Yeah, the long-promised and threatened
yes.
Musical episode. We need to get that. It was funny, too, because I forgot, now that I remember that story, too, someone today at work just did a funny thing like that where I forgot somehow something with her computer was doing something, and so she was trying to compare it to Stranger Things, and she said, it looks just like the underside. And I said,
okay.
And, of course she meant upside down. So we had a good chuckle about that one. And I actually said, can I mention that on my podcast? Because that was really funny. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to. That'll be a new character too. That's where they come from. The underside.
Yeah, the underside.
Our Stranger Things parody.
Yep, there we go.
Next up, some horror glass ornaments from Middle of Beyond. So tell us about these, Brian, because this sounds cool. This is something I would definitely buy.
Yeah, I don't know. I never heard of this company before, but I saw it on, I think Bloody Disgusting posted it on Twitter. They came out with, apparently they already had Krampus glass ornaments, but they releasing 3 new ones this year, which is one, it's the Bloody Knife from Halloween, and they have 2 Evil Dead ones, which is the Evil Dead 2 chainsaw, and it's like a bloody chainsaw, and the Book of the Dead. So that's cool, and I think they're like $19.99, so they're decent price for a nice glass ornament, especially one that has, that has an IP attached to it. Because I've seen some of those go for like, upwards of $30 to $40.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I couldn't judge the exact size of them, but I'm sure they're normal sized, and so something like that'll be great. Especially if you want to do one of those like cool horror Christmas trees and stuff. Like I like to put a lot of pop culture ornaments on my tree. Like we have a ton of Star Wars and stuff. So I think I want to pick up that Halloween one, especially to kind of commemorate the year that Michael Myers came back this year. So
yeah. Now here's an interesting idea if you have kids, because this is what my mom did for me and my brother. Every year as we were growing up, she would buy us an ornament, and that would be nice. Just for us, and we would get to pick it out typically. And she would put those in a tub. And so when I got married and moved into my own place, I had a complete set of ornaments for a Christmas tree, because I'd gotten so many over the years. So yeah, so I didn't start out with just this naked tree and having to go out and buy all these ornaments. I had tubs and tubs of them. So yeah, just a neat idea. Cool. If you have kids, it's kind of a neat tradition to start, and that way when they get out on their own, they got their tree already.
There you go.
Next up, Retro Picture Show Holiday of Horrors 3. Man, I would so love to be near one of these. Gosh, because I would love it. They're going to do Gremlins and Black Christmas this year.
Yeah, you gotta come visit one during one of these events. And apparently they're moving to the I don't know if they're moving full time or they're just doing a one-off, but they're doing they posted that they're going to go to the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers, which is about 40 minutes for me. But I would definitely travel to it to if they had a really good event. I mean, it's funny because Huntington Cinema Arts Centers, where they have it now, is actually I guess geographically closer, but it still takes forever to get there because there's literally like 2 ways to go down the street, and it's so bizarre because it's like one road with like 500 lights on it by the time you get there, and it's literally like not maybe like 5 towns over, but it seems like it should be like it takes like way too long for the distance. But yeah, so this one is like Tim said. Did you say? I can't remember. It's the Gremlins and Black Christmas. Yeah. So and that's Friday, November 23rd. It's Black Friday, so that's funny. They got Black Friday and Black Christmas.
I would love to see these on the big screen again.
Yeah, 35 millimeter prints too. They have. I would love to do it. I'm going to be out of town, so I will fortunately not be able to get to this event, or I would have definitely went to this one. Yeah. What a great twosome there.
Yeah, that's a tough one the day after Thanksgiving. A lot of people I'm sure traveling or taking the day off or going shopping and stuff. But yeah, that's a great double feature.
Yeah.
Next up, Rotten Love, a film written and starring Sarah Giersky. Did I say her name right?
I think so. That's how I pronounce it.
Okay.
Sarah, if you're listening, right. I apologize because I've seen it written, but I've never heard it said.
Well, as usual, I will butcher your name in a heartbeat.
Yes,
so I'm just living up to my reputation.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a rite of passage for Tim to butcher your name. So
you haven't made it till I've butchered your name.
That's right. No, yeah, and actually I got to see this because it came as a bonus on my Sargad disc.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so this is actually a really good little short horror film that she wrote and starred in. So I got excited at first because I was like, oh, it's on Amazon Prime, and now Tim could see this, but it's Amazon Prime UK. I reread it again.
Oh, okay. So, well, I'm sure it'll be over here at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure it will get here. If not, maybe we can get our friend Matt from Yorkshire to watch it over on the other side of the pond there, and he could do a review and come guest on the show. But a really great little short film. It was actually a really nice bonus that it was actually on the Sargad disc. So yeah, if it does available on Amazon Prime in the States, definitely check it out.
Next up, this was one that I hesitated to put on the rundown because there's probably some controversy around it, and I don't really know enough about all the details surrounding it to give an informed opinion. But I am going to mention it because Brian said go ahead and mention it because we might put a poll out on Twitter or whatever. But you may have noticed in the last month or two, the Scream Factory titles have had a pretty significant markup, particularly on Amazon, where they used to be able to get them pretty cheap. And the prices have just steadily rose on there. And apparently, Scream Factory or Shout Factory has been, their supplier has been engaging in some minimum advertised pricing demands, which basically limits what retailers can advertise a Scream Factory title for, or a Shout Factory title. It applies to not only their horror division. So what this means is basically your big box retailers and your mom and pop shops are now probably selling it for close to the same price, which on the surface seems like a good deal for the mom and pop shops because now they can compete with Amazon and Amazon's not constantly undercutting them. On the flip side of that, it does also mean that Amazon is making more profit than the little guy because they can buy the disc wholesale cheaper than the mom and pop shop can. Some of the little guys, at least one that I saw on Facebook, was not happy about this. The fans don't seem to be very happy about this. There have been some complaints.
Well, yeah, because they're the ones that really lose because they're paying now full price, really high price, no matter where they get it.
They can't shop around because now if every retailer has a minimum advertised price, that's the best you're going to get. So the fans are not happy. There's been quite a few complaints leveled at Shout Factory. I know personally I'm hesitant to buy another Scream Factory title until this is all sorted out, because I don't want to support that kind of business practice. But again, like I said, I don't know enough about the details to really come down firmly on one side or the other. So we may just kind of put it out there on Twitter as kind of get a feel for what you guys think.
Yeah, because I mean, we don't want to. It's hard to make a decision on this until we do know all the facts. I mean, I like to always find the good in things. So in my head, I'm like, I'd like to think they were really attempting to just make it fair for everybody, but it just doesn't seem like that. So I don't know, but so I mean, that's my. I would like to think it came kind of from a good place, let's make it so that the little guy can sell it for the same price as Amazon. And so, not everyone's going to always buy from Amazon. But then you think about the flip side of it. Well, everyone goes to Amazon first regardless. And they're always buying stuff on there. So if they're, might as well throw this on there. It's not going to be cheaper anywhere else. So they might as well just throw it in and get the free shipping that Prime has. So, I mean, I'm torn. So I'm kind of like with Tim. It's I'm hesitant. I want to see how this plays out before and get the full story. I have a feeling, though, if anything, and now in the days of the internet, you get enough complaining on it, things will change.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep you up to date.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, so this week's Discmemberment may set the record for number of special features in a single week.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's like that one week. Remember that one time we had none? It's I think they're all here.
Yeah, I think so. So let's get right to it. This is our Discmemberment.
Wait, no, please, God. No, don't call up.
Okay, these are the Blu-ray titles for November 20th, 2018. And we just started talking about...
I know, what a good segue.
What a great segue. We just talked about Shout Factory, and now we're going to feature two discs that I think might be our picks of the week.
Yeah, I know, right? It's pick of the week in spirit.
In spirit, okay. So yeah, maybe I'll hold off on recommending buying these until the whole price thing gets sorted out. But let's see how it goes. First up is a title I absolutely love, but I have not seen in many years, is Candyman from 1992. Yes. Again, released by Shout Factory, directed by Bernard Rose, starring Virginia Madsen, Sandra Berkeley, and of course, the great Tony Todd.
Oh, the greatest.
The Candyman, a murderous soul with a hook for a hand, is accidentally summoned to reality by a skeptic grad student researching the monster's myth. Now, this one comes in a cool 2-disc edition. And I'm going to run down these features. I'm not going to list them all by name because there's just so many. We would never get through this.
And since it's Candyman, you're going to have to say them all 3 times. So, we're going to have to shorten it a little.
So, it does have a brand new 2K restoration, and that was approved by writer-director Bernard Rose and director of photography. So, I always like when the restorations are overseen by people associated with the film. That's always adds a little layer of authenticity to it. It's got 2 new audio commentaries, one with writer-director Bernard Rose and Tony Todd, and the other with Stephen Jones and Kim Newman.
That's worth it alone. Just imagine hearing Tony Todd talk through the whole movie, just his cool voice going through it.
There's a previously released audio commentary with Bernard Rose, Clive Barker, the producers, actors Tony Todd, Virginia Madsen, and Casey Lemons.
Nice, 2 Tony Todds.
And then another previously released audio commentary with director Bernard Rose from the Movie Crypt podcast, hosted by filmmakers Adam Green and Joe Lynch.
Oh, yeah, and they, of course, they starred together in the great comedy horror series, Holliston.
Yep, that's them. Also, we have interviews with director Bernard Rose, producer Alan Pohl, executive producer Clive Barker, all the actors. I'm just kind of browsing through there. More interviews, storyboards, theatrical trailer, TV spots, still gallery. That's just the first disc. The second disc is an uncut version. They actually did a new 4K rescan, and they inserted some of the uncut footage from an archival film print. They got new interviews, a new makeup effects featurette with interviews, tons of new interviews.
Oh my God, there's like so many new features.
New featurettes. I mean, this disc is packed. Like, you'll spend a lot of time with this disc. So I'm really looking forward to this one. This one looks cool.
Yeah, hopefully they'll wrap up this whole Scream Factory thing soon so we can buy it.
Yes, really. Next up is another fun one. I don't know if I would put this on my must-have list, but it was definitely fun back in the day. That was Urban Legend.
And I saw this in the theater. That was a fun theater movie, too.
And what a great premise for a horror movie, to go through Urban Legends. This one's from 1998. Again, this is a Shout Factory Collector's Edition, directed by Jamie Blanks, starring Jared Leto, who I totally forgot was in this.
I know. You almost forget he's in there. Because
Alicia Witt and Rebecca Gayheart. So, a bunch of 90s stars there.
Yeah, and there's there's a couple of other people, like Michael Rosenblum, right? Did I say his name right? The one he was Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Oh, yeah.
There, Joshua Jackson, Danielle Harris. I mean, there's some people in there.
Yeah. So, of course, the synopsis is a college student suspects a series of bizarre deaths are connected to certain urban legends. So, this one also has a 2-disc set. Disc 1 features a new audio commentary with director Jamie Blanks, producer Michael McDonald, assistant Edgar Pablos, and moderated by author Peter M. Brack.
And also, I'm sorry, I forgot, and of course Robert Englund too. I realized I was as I was going through I almost skipped him.
You skipped the biggest one.
I had him on my list on the side here, and I almost skipped him right off. I apologize. Sorry, Robert Englund.
It also includes the previously released audio commentary with director Jamie Blanks, writer Silvio Horta, and actor Michael Rosenbaum. In a theatrical trailer. But disc 2, listen to this, an 8-part documentary, 147-minute documentary on the making of Urban Legend.
It's longer than the movie.
It is. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, I don't even know how you make an 8-part documentary on the making of Urban Legend.
Yeah,
it's just it's a weird.
Yeah. And look, they show all the other people that were that we left out too, like Tara Reid, Natasha Gregson Wagner, Loretta Devine.
Yeah,
so there was more, like a lot of fun people in this. I forgot.
New behind-the-scenes footage, new extended interviews, a making of featurette, gag reel, deleted scene, and TV spots. So that's a packed disc. That's just awesome. They also released, and I think it's on here. It's a little bit farther down. We'll skip over to it. Urban Legends Final Cut, which was a sequel from 2000.
That was definitely on the little more disappointing side, I think, than that, because the first one was so good.
Yeah, and this one, the extras kind of take a hit on this one as well, because it's not as well known or as well beloved a film. But this one was directed by John Ottman, starring Jennifer Morrison, Matthew Davis, and Hart Bachner.
I love that name.
A film school is the center of a fresh spate of killings based on urban legends. So this one has a new featurette with interviews with everybody associated with the film, apparently. An audio commentary. I don't think this is a new audio commentary. I think this was previously released. Deleted scenes with optional commentary by director John Ottman, making a featurette, gag reel, and theatrical trailer. So a little bit more bare bones than the other one, but still some pretty good extras for a sequel. And then this one, we usually put our TV titles at the front, or we've started doing that, just to kind of separate them. But this one I had to put in our main rundown because it's just an
this
amazing
one's too good.
set. And this is the set I still can't afford. I can't afford the first season, although I want this set so bad. I'm going to put it on my Christmas list. But this is the Outer Limits Season 2, covering years 1964 to 1965. This was put out by Kino Lorber. And the special features are just amazing on this. There's some alternate cuts of some episodes. There are audio commentaries for 13 of the 17 episodes by film historians.
Yay!
12 TNT promos. A Showtime interview, featurettes, Penn and Teller host segments.
That's a weird one.
How cool is that? TNT interviews with various personalities of the show. The Museum of Television and Radio's William S. Paley Television Festival, The Outer Limits. This is like a 73-minute television special about Outer Limits.
Oh, wow.
A New Year's promo. I mean, everything connected with Outer Limits you could think of is on this disc. It just sounds really, really cool.
Yeah.
And these sets they're pricey. Let me tell you, I think they're up in the like $60-$70 range for one season. But man, they're beautiful discs.
But look how much they come out. Usually, a lot of these TV series sets, like I'm short of the Twin Peaks series, is whenever they release, they always have tons and tons of extras. But then again, those are up in the 50+ range when they would come out. But yeah, I mean, but you get a lot of stuff for this. You almost get, it's almost like just the full season alone. But then you get like almost like a full season of extras, it seems like.
Yeah, and the first season, I was just looking on Amazon, it's retailing for $51, which isn't bad, I guess.
Oh, but, yeah, it's not too bad.
It's just a beautiful package. It's a really cool box. It's got a nice collector's booklet in it. It's just cool. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just cool. If you're like a anthology geek like me, it's just something you want to have on your shelf. So
I know, now you got me wanting it. I may have to put it on my list now, even though I think like I had so much already on the list ahead of it that I don't know if if I sneak that in now it'll get any like notice.
Yeah, it's going on there. I'm putting it on the list. So next up, this one's not going on the list.
Yes.
I don't think Olivia would appreciate this one.
Yeah, just seeing the title of this might get you put you in the doghouse there, Tim.
This is The Orgies of Edo. I'll never forget Sanford and Son when Grady came over and he said something like, I guess he was under the impression that Fred Sanford was having an orgy.
Oh my God.
And he's knocking on the door and talking something about like, you better not be having an orgy.
Orgy.
So every time I see orgies, I think orgy.
Oh my God!
You can always also call this the Orgies of Edo.
The Orgies of Edo. Yeah, for now on, it'll be known as that here. At least.
1969 Arrow release. This is looks like a Japanese film of kind of horror erotica, directed by Teruo Ishii, starring Teruo Yoshida, Toyozo Yamamoto, and Masumi Tachibana. A collection of stories dealing with punishment towards women. So I don't know if that really flies.
Strike two for you to have Olivia see this.
I don't know about this one, so I don't know. If that's your thing, stick it on your Christmas list.
And I think Tim was so distracted at ever possibly owning this in his house, he said all the names perfectly this time.
I know. Maybe it's the beer. Maybe the more I drink, the more I pronounce names correctly. I don't know.
Yeah, some people have liquid courage. Tim has liquid dictation.
That's right.
He says.
All right, so next up on our list, Luciferina from 2018. This is a nunsploitation film released by Artsploitation. And
a lot of exploitation here.
Yeah, directed by Gonzalo Calzada, starring Victoria Carreras, Gaston Cocchiarelli, and Agustin Dot.
Wait, did you say Gaston?
Yeah, why?
Well, because no one acts like Gaston.
Makes strange pacts like Gaston.
Knows as much devil-worshipping facts as Gaston.
He's especially good at some demon raising. Three cheers for Gaston! So the synopsis is Natalia is a 19-year-old novice, and it doesn't say what she's a novice of.
Maybe she's a generalized novice at everything. She's done nothing.
At everything.
In her full 19 years of life to this point, she's done nothing.
She's just terrible.
Yes.
A terrible person. Natalia is a 19-year-old novice who reluctantly returns home to say goodbye to her dying father.
Well, she's got some morals, at least. She went home.
But she was reluctant, though.
Oh, she was reluctant. That's right. Yeah, no, you know what? She's horrible. Forget it. There's no redeeming quality. She's even a novice at being redeemed. She can't even...
That's right. However, when she meets up with her sister and her friends, she decides instead to travel the jungle in search of mystical plant. Okay.
What?
I'm just reading it like it's written.
I know, but what?
There, instead of pleasure, they encounter a world of black masses, strange pregnancies, bloody deaths, and for young nun Natalia, a sexually violent clash with the devil himself.
I feel like I at some point have to see this. I need to know what the heck is going on in this movie.
Well, it would have been nice if they pointed out she was a nun to start with. instead of a novice.
Oh, that's right. Maybe they meant maybe do you think it was just a weird autocorrect from nun to novice? Or they left out nun? It was supposed to be a novice nun, but after 19 years, you figure she should have gotten a little better. Should have been at least like a midland nun by that point, you know?
I don't know. What do you practice with a nun? I guess you keep practicing until you get into the habit.
I was just going to say that. It beat me to it. The battle of the puns continues. And I already used nonsense, so I can't even say that one again. So
And we still got a cannibal movie to talk about. So I don't know. We might have used up all our cannibal puns last episode. I don't know.
We might have. Yeah, well, this one's not a... The Green Inferno at least had some humor to it. This one does not.
No, God, no. Next up, this is our last title, Maniac. Not to be confused with the more popular Maniac movie that we know from horror fans that had the remake with Elijah Wood and all that. This
is a different one.
Yeah, this one's different. This was from 1963, released by Sony Pictures, directed by Michael Carreras, starring Kerwin Matthews, Nadia Gray, and Donald Houston. An American painter has an affair with a bar owner in a French village and agrees to help her murderer husband escape from a prison for the criminally insane. So I'm wondering how you're having an affair with a woman, and how do you agree to help her murderer husband escape from prison? That seems like a bad idea.
I know, that seems, yeah, that's like, I'm going to go into the shark cage now and unlock it.
That seems like the worst
the shark
idea
is swimming
ever.
around. Yeah, it's like, usually you kind of would want to, like, make sure he stays in there.
Yeah.
Not help him get out.
Well, maybe that's why he's a maniac.
Yeah, right, yeah, that must be it.
He doesn't make good decisions.
Right. I wonder if it's going to be one of those ones like, who's the real maniac here? You know, is it the wife?
Yeah.
Is it probably the one guy that's most normal is the murderer husband, I bet.
Probably. Well, I had a bad oversight last week. I missed a theatrical release that was pretty huge, and I feel bad about it. But literally, when I was looking through the rundown of movies, I saw this movie, and I saw the poster, and I thought, oh, it's just a World War II movie. Nothing to see here. But Overlord came out last week, and that is sort of a horror twist on a World War II movie. So I apologize for missing that one last week.
And Paul said it was really good.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are saying it's really good, but kind of underrated, and people are not going to see it, really. It's kind of one of those that's not really hitting.
I'm wondering it's because originally, remember, they were talking how it was tying into the Cloverfield universe, and then, the Paradox movie wasn't widely liked.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if that hurt it, or maybe just, I don't know. Well, and also, I should have put this in the rundown as another kind of thing, but it kind of plays to this, though, because obviously this is, a lot of the horror fans are liking this. Did you see the thing where people have been tweeting about the Vogue article that says 2018 was a bad year for horror?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, nice try, Vogue, or go home, you're drunk. I mean, literally, you have one of the most huge horror releases with Halloween, to come back in terms of franchises.
And Hereditary.
Hereditary was a hit. You have amazing horror TV shows like the Haunting of Hill House. You have Christine McConnell, even, which is a little side. The chilling Adventures of Sabrina. You have Overlord, and not to mention, but in video games, it's so funny. Like, I'm wondering where they were looking at, when they thought that. It's so funny, but I'm like, it's like they obviously did not have someone that knows about horror write that article.
No, it was obviously not somebody that knew anything about it, because, like we've said many times this year on this very show, horror is huge right now.
Yeah. And not even to mention the Purge television show got renewed. It was so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's some people say, oh, that's not horror. It's horror enough, believe me. So.
And the first Purge didn't do terrible at the box office either. I mean, these movies are still making their profits. It's not like they're...
Right, and you have the remake of and the remake of Suspiria. I mean, I don't know what people are talking about.
Yeah. Just listen to us. Don't listen to that.
Yes.
Don't go to Vogue for your horror news.
No, and we won't talk about fashion on this show.
God knows we definitely won't. I am not a fashion person by any means.
No, I am not at all.
My wardrobe is made for radio.
Yeah, same here.
All right, so but we do have a theatrical release this week that I'm actually really interested in. This one's called The Clovehitch Killer.
Oh.
Have you seen the trailer for this, Brian?
No. I think I've heard the title mentioned, though.
Oh, the trailer's fantastic. I had to watch it twice because Olivia came in about halfway through and she was like, "What is this?" And I had to start it over and watch it again. But a picture-perfect family is shattered when the work of a serial killer hits too close to home. Dylan McDermott stars in this chilling portrait of all-American evil, directed by Duncan Skiles, starring Dylan McDermott, Charlie Plummer, who I always think of Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka. Run, Charlie! Samantha Mathis. I've been playing the Willy Wonka game on my phone, like, nonstop. And
There's a Willy Wonka game?
There's a Willy Wonka Candy Crush clone, and it is amazing.
Oh my god, I gotta get that.
Not only are you doing the Candy Crush levels, you're collecting stars to create your chocolate factory.
Yeah. And I heard there's a prequel coming out to it or something. I read somewhere. I don't know. I gotta read that again. I gotta check that, where I saw that. But
anyway, Clovehitch Killer, check out Dylan McDermott plays a weird, creepy serial killer guy.
Oh, not Dermot Mulroney?
Not Dermot, no. I actually was thinking of bringing up that sketch on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, but, you know, he's usually plays such like a nice guy type.
Yeah.
And he's super creepy in this trailer. You got to go check it out.
He probably just got burnt out by being called Dermot Mulroney for so many years.
Well, he's going full on.
That's what made him
mode
snap.
In this one.
Ah, cool.
All right, so our main feature, we decided to tackle one of the most infamous, probably one of the most infamous horror films of all time, I'd say.
It may very well be.
So infamous, in fact, that I held off watching this one because I don't like animals being hurt. And this movie is one of the Mondo films that, of course, features some animal torture, real animal torture. This is back.
Does it ever? Let me tell you, I was like squirming in it. I don't like mistreatment of animals or like when they there's just abuse of women, and this had both.
Yeah,
and it was just,
it's a very difficult film to watch. Now, Brian watched the full version. I watched a version that had the animal stuff cut out of it.
Yeah, which I know, and I'll give you the credit to Shudder. They did put a disclaimer in the front of it saying that they try and always get the most pure, uncut version of the films to show, and so they did warn that this was the full version. So
yeah. So anyway, Cannibal Holocaust, 1980, directed by, and I'm gonna butcher this name, Ruggero Deodato.
I think you might have hit it.
Domi Ara, what is that?
Arigato, Mr.
Deodato. Starring Robert Kerman, Francesca Ciardi, and Perry Perkinen.
Do you think when Robert Kerman introduced, he goes, "Hey, well, this is Kermit the Frog"?
I was just stuck on Perry Perkinen. Perry Perkinen.
Oh yeah, Perry. Sounds like a drug you'd take for pain. You know, give me one of those Perkinens. Only us. Well, I guess if we could make a joke of this movie.
Oh my god, you have to laugh.
Might just make it easier. Yeah.
So, during a rescue mission into the Amazon rainforest, a professor stumbles across lost film shot by a missing documentary crew. So, like I said, fair warning, before you go watch this movie, YouTube has a cut that is what they call the cruelty-free cut, but it is the one that has no animal torture. So if you want to see the film but not see the animal stuff, which is real,
yes,
you can see it on YouTube until they take it down.
Yeah, in fact, it's like, I'm not even going to go into any kind of details, but I'm just saying, if you don't like, I wish, like now in hindsight, I wish that I knew there was a cruelty-free cut. I mean, I had heard there were versions shown without it, but I mean, I just assumed, I didn't know that I could have options, so I happened to see it on Shudder, and it was just easy to watch in terms of availability, not easy to watch mentally, because anything with animals, it just, even when I know it's fake, is bad enough. But with this being real, I was almost like really annoyed throughout.
Yeah, there was I actually started watching the Shudder version a while back, and I got to the scene with the muskrat or whatever that they're cutting, and I couldn't do it. Like, I had to turn it off.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. So, but anyway, so fair warning there. But anyway, so this is kind of credited as one of the first found footage films.
Right. And that I mean, that's where, it's kind of weird to say, like, this is almost like, and I saw someone claim it, they said it's almost like it was in one of the reviews, it's almost like a rite of passage. You have to almost like see it because of that cultural significance of it being the first technically type of found footage film. It wasn't all found footage, mind you. they used it. It was weird. It was found footage, but in the narrative style. So it was like, I guess maybe like mostly the second half was found footage.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting the format of the movie, because you would think, okay, in a typical found footage film like today, they would find the footage and that's what you would see for the entire hour and a half.
Right, and that's it. And it would just be a note scrolling up at the beginning. This group was lost in the Amazon. This is their tale.
But this is kind of meta in that it shows how they found the footage.
Right.
And then they go into, should we release it or should we not? And this kind of stuff. So you get all the behind the scenes of these people finding the footage, reviewing the footage, and making choices on how to release it. So that's kind of the plot of the movie. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that level of it, I thought it was kind of cool how they did that. How it was like, yeah, it's like, he went there to rescue them. And, obviously what, as you find out, that they're not going to be rescued anymore. But, but he does find the film, so he kind of wants to find out what happened. And he does, and he goes through the guy goes through steps, these crazy steps in order to basically get this tribe to trust him enough to trade for the film canisters, which they were like, I think they were like hung up, right? They're like hanging on like a thing. Mm-hmm. So he got that to bring back. But then it's funny at that point, throughout the, it's almost like it was weird. It's like I saw some people debate this. They're like, some people are like, but this has a really good message. How it's trying to show what sensationalism to try and get, for just money's sake will do. And other people said, yeah, they just disguise that as pure exploitation themselves. So it's like, it's hard to describe. Like, you don't really know. It's so old. You don't know what they were, the motive of the director. But I did see on one point, which we'll get to later, to a little more facts later. But one fact that he said is he regrets making the film ever.
Right. Yeah. And there's a interesting fact again on the IMDb trivia where it says that he based the film on a film he saw about a documentary crew who died while investigating cannibals in Africa.
Right.
And he claimed this documentary did show incidents that he later depicted in the film, but then it was destroyed.
Right.
So apparently this is kind of based on a true story.
Yeah.
At least according to him.
Yeah, and they was I think I saw somewhere where some news station claimed they had a copy of it, but they never showed it. It's like one of these like probably urban legend things that I guess spread out that I've seen it. Oh no, you've seen it. I've got a copy. I got one of these things, but I don't know. I mean, say what you will about it. I mean, I guess you have to almost keep it in like as a horror fan, as a historical piece, whether you can get through it or not. And it is probably one of the hardest horror films I had to get through, just knowing what the animal stuff is real and and
that's probably the worst of it. Now when I watched it, of course, without the animal stuff, it was a little easier to swallow because, again, I use the swallow term, but because I knew that the people stuff was not real.
Right.
There's a lot of simulated rape scenes in here. There's a lot of simulated murders in here.
I mean, I don't like that even when it's simulated. I mean,
no.
This one was like, it's just like graphic simulation. I mean,
very graphic, yeah.
Yeah.
But at least in my mind, I knew that it was all fake, right? Now, when this movie was released, famously, the director was actually charged with murder because in Milan because they thought he had actually killed these people on camera.
Well, he had them sign contracts to disappear for a year. And then when he got arrested, he contacted one. He's like, can you get everybody here? And they had to appear in court to show that they were alive, which talk about it like viral marketing. Jeez, you can't get press like that, though, if you're trying to promote a film.
And one thing that's interesting is that even though this is by far the most well-known cannibal movie ever,
right.
It's actually the second of his cannibal trilogy.
Right. I saw that. He had 3, right? And I think his second one was it didn't.
This was the second one, but the first one was Jungle Holocaust.
Right, Jungle Holocaust. That's right. That's the one. I didn't see the third one listed on IMDb unless it has a name that's completely.
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know
different.
what the third one is, and I haven't bothered to look it up. But apparently, that was the. But yeah, Cannibal Holocaust was actually the second of the trilogy.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to talk about. This movie probably had the most bizarre juxtaposition of music and violence.
Yeah.
The theme, the score for Cannibal Holocaust is famous. It's a really peaceful, serene, beautiful score.
It is. I was like, what a pleasant score to this. Like, it was opened up like almost like a National Geographic documentary piece or something.
And it's at the beginning of the film, it kind of fits because you're just kind of flying over the jungle and you're kind of showing scenes of nature and stuff, and it kind of all fits. But there's a point later on in the movie where there's some real violence happening on screen, and they throw this score in on top of it, and it's just such a bizarre and creepy juxtaposition of two totally different things. And I think it's another reason this movie's kind of a cult classic. It just has such that weird vibe to it.
Yeah, dude, I wonder if they did that to almost like in an attempt to tone down what you were watching, like maybe to calm you down by putting, because it's a very serene score.
Yeah, I don't know what the real. There's even a sequence where the editor in the movie who is putting together and looking at all this found footage, he even says, yeah, I threw some music on top of it during some of the scenes. They were talking about, is this the only clip that has sound or whatever? And he kind of makes mention to throwing music over the top, which I wondered if it was maybe a reference to that.
Maybe,
so I don't know. It's a very neat. But if you ever get the chance to listen to the score to Cannibal Holocaust, it's a really good score.
Yeah. But
it's just such a wildly violent movie for that kind of music to be on top of. It's very, very strange. Let's talk about like some of the. I guess we need to talk about some of the scenes that are some of the standouts. I remember when I first saw the scene. It's one of the first really violent scenes you see where you have one of the tribesmen drags a girl out of a boat.
Oh my god!
Through the mud, and he's kind of like he does some kind of rape on her with this big stone instrument.
They called it a ritual. It was some kind of ritual, like a adulterous ritual or something.
Yeah. But, he, like, beats her in the head with a rock and kills her. And, like, I mean, props to that girl for acting like a dead body because it looks real. Like, when she's just kind of flopping around, he's like, dragging her around. It really looks like he's dragging a corpse around. It was very disturbing.
Yeah, so it was what it is. The production team, they couldn't find any local women to play the adulteress. So the head of wardrobe, her name was Lucia Constantini, ended up with the part. So they basically covered her in mud, more so just to cover her facts so she would look like one of the natives, I guess, and be like so it says she was completely covered in the mud to look like a native. This was from IMDb, and so it was literally like they couldn't even find a local to play that role.
Oh my gosh, it's very, very disturbing and kind of sets the stage for what you're going to see later on in the movie. Then one of the most famous iconic scenes is the girl impaled on a pole.
Right.
And the effects in that are just outstanding. Now, how they did this, they basically had her sitting on a bicycle seat.
Right.
So she's kind of sitting, and they hide that with the pole, and then she has like a pole coming up through her mouth. But I'm telling you, even though I knew how this was filmed, I was specifically looking towards this scene, and it's still amazing effect.
Yeah, because you've seen the stills from it a lot. They usually have it on stills. Like it was on the box art, I think, at one point, right? Which I'm not sure how that was released that way because it's like fully nude at the same time. So I'm not sure how I saw that picture from I think I saw it. I remember seeing it like on one of the like a video still from somewhere. I don't remember where.
Yeah, but even way before I'd even really knew what the movie was, I was familiar with that.
Right.
Image.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, where did I see it? Like I maybe back then. I mean, box art could show a lot more probably than it could now. At some a video store. So maybe I had seen it then.
Or they might have covered it up with her hair or something.
Right. Yeah, maybe you just and then now that you see you put in the missing pieces or something.
But yeah, so that was an incredible effects shot. I mean, you can tell why people think this was real because there's some like these effects still hold up. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them hold up even to this day. Like especially some of the scenes where the bodies are getting cut apart and stuff. I mean, it looks really. I don't want to say good. Yeah, no, good. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It looks good. Just say realistic.
Looks realistic from an effects perspective. It's really, really spot on. I mean, for this early a movie, 1980.
Yeah, especially when that guy loses his member, let's say.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's quite a bit of nudity in this film from both the male and female persuasion. So,
there's basically nothing that's hidden.
What's funny is the person that posted the cut that I saw without the animal cruelty. was their tag was nice family films or something like that. Nice family movies or something. Oh my God. To that effect. So, but yeah, this is not a nice family movie. This is basically wall to wall rape and murder.
Yeah.
And animal cruelty if you choose to watch that part of it. So it's very tough.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, this is probably a movie that, like, you know, obviously being a horror fan, everyone's heard of it. And I think I stick to the guy, one of the person I saw, they said it's a rite of passage film. You kind of have to see it once, and I'm probably never going to watch it again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not what I want to see again.
No, like sure. There are movies where I'll be like, oh yeah, I could probably see myself watching it. I don't see any moment when I would sit there and say, you know, like sitting down there, like, we need to watch a movie tonight. What should I pick? I think I'll pick Cannibal Holocaust. You know, it's like just one of those movies you're not going to be, it's not going to be in any sort of rotation, at least for me. I can tell you that.
Yeah, like we said, it's one of those that you need to see for the cultural significance as a horror fan, and to see where these other movies like Green Inferno obviously got inspiration from.
I mean, they say Green Inferno about 10 times in this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely encourage you if you don't want to see like actual animal stuff, just seek out the edit without the animals, because you still get to see all the stuff that was instrumental in horror history without having to watch real animals die on film. Right, yeah. And I still like, there's some images I saw that I will never get out of my head, and it's like, you know, and I was watching it on my iPad. I like, because I knew, you know, I'd heard about it, and most of the time I'll just like, if the movie's on something I can watch on TV, I'll just pop it on. But I know Julie would not be a fan of that movie at all, and she definitely not like the animal cruelty part either. So it's like, I'm like, I said I'll just watch it on my iPad, and thank God, because I was just like, oh, you know, I was almost like numb to it towards the end, but still, it was just like, too much, you know, too much just stuff I don't like, you know. Yeah. What else do we have? We have like a village being burned, basically. I mean, and the crazy part is, I mean, not to spoil it, but I mean, it's like, you know, you know, you don't even like, you know, most of the found footage films, you know, you're kind of like, I don't know if rooting, but you're kind of on the side of the people that were in the film, and this you will not. They're all deplorable, in my opinion. They got annoying right from the first minute they were in the, you know, you're not supposed to like them from ever, I think, you know, and it's like, you know, you almost didn't want them to be found alive. Yeah, and there were some other scenes. I'm trying to think of some of the others, especially towards the end. You have, of course, when the poor film crew actually gets their comeuppance, you get a lot of this gore and violence. Although a lot of it's filmed kind of like handheld, and like so you don't really see everything that's going on. A lot of it's kind of shaky cam stuff. Although the woman, though, she's the one that's like, at some point, is like the moral compass. At one point, she's trying to stop a lot of what's going on. Right. But it's like still too little too late on her part. I mean, they literally, like, at one scene, I mean, they sit there, they burn the village down, and then, like, have sex right in front of the poor natives that just lost their village, you know? It's like... Yeah. It's a very offensive movie. Yeah. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, it's like, it's not, like I said, and they're really, like, cocky and obnoxious right from the start, so you don't like them ever. No. And you know, not that it's like you want to see, you know, necessarily you want to see anybody get ripped apart like that, but... You know, it's like you really don't. You know, it's like they kind of got what was coming to them. I mean, they really, it was like exactly what they deserved to happen at some level for the way they played this in the movie. Yeah, it's got kind of a weird ending, because you get a lot of the film crew stuff. Them being dispatched really happens like the last 10 minutes of the movie. Right. Like, it really ends rather abruptly, but it kind of comes back to the whole meta aspect of the footage, because they say something about, you know, the guy basically gets charged, I guess, for distributing. Oh, the projectionist. The projectionist gets fined $10,000, but he ends up making like a lot more from it or something. Yeah, like $250,000 for selling it. But But I don't think I think they say, I read somewhere that it was like it was kind of like a nod to the actual footage guy, that one that they based the movie on, I read somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I think that was more relation to that. And you know, actually the one likable character, I guess, is the professor. He's the only one kind of with like a true moral compass throughout. Right. Yes. Yeah. And I was kind of pleased to see that he makes it out. Yeah. It's like you wouldn't think he would. Like the way this movie started,
I assumed that I was like, oh, that's all you see of this crew that they made such a big deal about in the beginning, and then it's going to be his story.
Yeah.
And I assumed he was going to go in and it was going to just end badly for him, and that was the end of it. But no, it's like he makes it out and he's back. He's back in New York with his pipe throughout the whole movie. And he's back in his tweed coat and he's walking the streets of New York. And I'll tell you, it's so funny. It's like I've never saw someone use more of like whatever permit they got to film in New York. Boy, did he use every like inch of it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was thinking it was kind of fascinating because I love seeing New York from that early.
Right. Yeah. But it's so funny because the last thing you expect in a movie called Cannibal Holocaust is sweeping shots of New York City circa 1970s.
I think that was a very deliberate attempt to juxtapose, the savagery of the Amazon and the modern New York and how maybe they're not so different. And that I definitely know you could tell the intention. It's just funny to me that like, it's like, he's like, the guy's like, he's like, I'm going to get this permit to shoot in New York. Look what I got. It's like, but so what were your overall thoughts of the movie, Brian, that having finally seen it? I mean, to me, again, did I cheat a little bit by not seeing the animal stuff? Yes, I did. Yeah. I mean, I understand that I don't get the full impact of the film in the same way Brian did. But then again, I'm not going to subject myself to it. So to me, again, like we said a little bit earlier, I appreciated the cultural significance of it. I'm not a big torture fan. I'm not a big fan of horror movies just to see people get raped and murdered. Yeah. That's not my thing. I'm much more into like the supernatural and more frightening type stuff. I don't need to see it that graphically depicted. So this one to me was, again, like I said, I understand the historical significance of it. It's not one that I really would want to watch over and over again by any means. It's just, it's stuff that I just don't want to put in my head.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like, and I guess I kind of pretty much are going to echo those terms. And, like I said, there are some scenes in there I will not get out of my head now. But, like I said, it's like, I mean, being such a found footage fan that I am, I was glad I saw this for its cultural significance, the fact that I guess it was the first found footage. And, it's funny, like, for some reason I always thought it was a much earlier film than it was. I mean, it was shot earlier, and I think it took a while to get released, but it would have got released in 80 or 81.
Right, 1980, yeah.
So it's kind of funny. It's like when you think about it, it wasn't that far off from like the Blair Witch when it finally got off. In my head it was like the 60s for some reason. I always pictured it it was like this was a movie from the 60s, not realizing it was actually as recent as it was. I mean, it's still the 80s, it's a long time ago, but you know what I mean. And so it's like so one of those things like it's like I'm glad I saw it, but I will probably never watch it again. Just for that reason, because it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you almost gotta do it once. And, and I can appreciate I'll appreciate some of the really good effects that they had, but doesn't mean I can, it's definitely not a movie that I will ever probably watch again.
And that, to be fair, that's the reason why it has the reputation it does.
Right. We probably talked like about 30 people now into watching this. Like, really? Yes. Wow. Tim and Brian or think it's deplorable and they can't watch it again. I got to see this. And unfortunately, that's society. And that's kind of what the movie kind of has a little message in there about that. But
yeah.
So.
All right. So what did you come up with the beer pairing? I was interested in hearing this one there, Brian.
Yeah. So this was a tough beer pairing because there's really not any cannibal themed beers out there.
We got to fix that.
Yeah, maybe we need to come up with one. But so I came up with one. I was looking around, and I was thinking in my head, I'm like, yeah, this movie kind of like, really ruined me in some ways in my head. How I'm never going to get those shots out. And I remembered the beer by Stone Brewing Company out of Escondido, California, Ruination, which I don't know, which is a very strong IPA. And it's like for IPA lovers, it's like the ultimate IPA. Super piney.
I've had this one many a time, and it is definitely I don't intentionally seek out strong hoppiness, in my IPAs, but this one will definitely give it to you.
Oh yeah. Julie loves this one too. This one, but it actually, as I went to reading a little more about it, it was like what shoot it in is that it was the first full-time brewed and bottled West Coast double IPA on the planet. So, in honor of kind of this being the first found footage film, arguably, I thought that was a good match too. So and I'll read the little description. It says, as craft beer has evolved over the years, so too have techniques for maximizing hop flavors and aromas. For the second incarnation of our groundbreaking India Pale Ale, we employ dry hopping and hop bursting to squeeze every last drop of piney, citrusy, tropical essence from the hops that give this beer its incredible character. We've also updated the name to Stone Ruination Double IPA 2.0 to reflect the imperial level intensity that is evident in every sip. Join us in cheering this, the second stanza in our liquid poem to the glory of the hop. And it's 8.5%, which is pretty strong for an IPA, but I just remember when I tried it, it tasted like I was eating a pine tree. I mean,
oh yeah, it's got some kick to it.
Yeah,
sure.
It is good, but for IPA fans, it's like hitting the jackpot. Really, if you really love IPAs, not just I like IPAs because they're popular and they're cool. No, but if you really like IPAs, you will like this beer.
Yeah, I'm actually drinking the one of the Celebration IPAs from Sierra Nevada that comes out every year around Christmas time. I used to get them back in the day, back when I was first getting into beer, and they were really my first like true IPAs that I was like, I'm talking about like strong IPAs because the Celebration Ale has quite some bite to it.
Oh yeah, no, it does. It's really one of my like favorite. More mainstream of the craft beers.
Yeah. So it's definitely got some hop to it. So yeah, that's kind of was my first exposure to like really strong hoppiness in beers.
But that's a good one.
It's a good one to start off with. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite. There's other ones I would pick, but but these are it's readily available. Sierra Nevada is always a good, what I like to call a house beer.
Yes,
it's one you can break out for guests and just have on hand if you just want to grab a quick beer out of the fridge type thing and don't want to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, it's always good because I know like Julie and I will buy beers. We'll go to our local guy and we tend to just buy a lot of single cans and split them so we can really get. We can obviously drink a lot more that way and also try a lot more that way. And it's funny because we're like, it's so weird. We're spending like $8 on one can of beer. But then you think about it, it's like, that's like our version of when people buy great bottles of wine to try. Mm-hmm. You know what? We're beer people, not wine people. So that's our thing. We love trying new beers. We love getting a lot of variety. And we got a good guy that like always hooks us up with some good stuff. And he has some good, and he's a big IPA guy too. My buddy Frankie, and he'll actually recommend some good stuff. And he gave us, the last time I was there, he gave me about 6 options. And oh my god, everyone was like, I think every one of them is like right at the top of my list now. They're so good.
Wow.
So, yeah, a lot of good IPA stuff. So
we have a grocery store right up the street that has just a really good selection for a grocery store. Obviously, it's not a bottle shop type collection, but they have some good stuff on draft, and they have like a decent mainstream selection. And they have a lot of, what I really like is they have a lot of local North Carolina brews because they can get the local craft beers into the grocery stores here. Nice. So that's kind of why I go up there. But they were having this ridiculous sale on all their winter seasonal packs. But it was mostly mainstream stuff like Sierra Nevada and Sam Adams and Magic Hat and stuff like that, but I couldn't pass it up because they're so dirt cheap. It was ridiculous. So I was like, well, I kind of have to buy this, even though it's not like my favorite. I kind of have to go for it. So that's what kicked off the holiday season for me.
There's no argument there.
Yep. All right, so our 6 degrees of decapitation. Last week we asked you to connect Sky Ferreira to Ione Skye, and Sky Ferreira was in Elvis and Nixon with Tate Donovan. And Tate Donovan was in The Lather Effect with Ione Skye. Not sure what that is.
Maybe he likes to lather up Ione Skye.
That's what crossed my mind, but
well, who wouldn't?
I'm gonna go with it.
It's Ione Skye. I mean, you grew up in the 80s with Ione Skye. Say anything. I mean, she was like the...
So this week we're going to ask you to connect 2 Yorks. Carl Gabriel York to Michael York.
Yeah, I thought I would never be able to match anybody from this movie to anyone else. But so I saw the York and I'm like, okay. I know that one, so I picked that one. And funny thing is, I got it's in 2. I'll give you a hint. So somehow,
gosh,
yeah, I don't know.
All right, so next week we'll have another cannibal film for you. Not quite sure, although I have a couple of ideas of what we'll do next week. So I hope you're enjoying the cannibal theme for Thanksgiving. I think we'll have our Thanksgiving 3 commentary up shortly.
Yeah, we actually got to record that this week, so hopefully we'll release it the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving again, since we know what you should be watching on Thanksgiving night, of course. If you get time away from your family, to watch Joe Bob Briggs' Thanksgiving thing that he's got. I forgot the name. I'm sorry, but I forgot the actual name of it. Something like Thanksgiving Dinner of the Dead or something. Dinner. It
was on last episode, so go back. and listen to it.
Just rewind. I can't expect it to be remembered everything.
As usual, give us a shout out on Facebook, Gmail at civilgorepodcast@gmail.com, Twitter at civilgorepod, and Instagram. We're always posting stuff on there. We like hearing feedback from you guys. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show.
Yes.
And definitely leave us a rating on iTunes. Those help us out a tremendous amount. And we've had a couple of new reviews.
Yeah,
lately.
We got some new ones, and it's funny. So we have some ratings, but that don't have a review to match to it. But it was okay because it was 5 stars, so I'm glad.
That's right. So at some point, I want to kind of do. I've heard other podcasts do that. Is kind of give some shout outs to those that leave us iTunes reviews.
Right. So well, Kim and Ket do a great job. They do. She does an original song for everybody that does it, which I don't know if we'll do. I don't want to do that one because I don't want to obviously take their idea. But 2, we don't want to subject you to that because you'll probably go back and change the rating to something.
That's right. Yeah.
Something bad.
But anyway, so yeah, if you leave us an iTunes review, we'll probably give you a shout out on the show here soon. I want to run through the ones that have already done it, and then any new ones we get, we'll definitely give you a shout out on the show. So
absolutely,
drop us a line. All right, guys, we will see you back here next week.
See you later,
and stay out of the jungle.